What's up, everybody? It's Edgar back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be ranking Brawlers from S really good to F really bad. So I don't want to hold up the video anymore. Let's get right into it. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy. This is just my opinion, but everyone else will have different opinions, so let's go ahead and get into it. So first on S tier is Edgar, and I picked him because he heals a lot after each attack, and his attacks come back pretty fast. And also, he has the super, and he can just jump on people, and he can fake it and do so many things. So I put him on S tier. Next up on S tier, we have Shade, and I put Shade on S tier because he has pretty decent range, and he has his super that he can just phase through walls, and he can shoot through walls at any moment. So I put him on S tier. Next up on S tier we have Gale, and I put Gale on S tier because he has really good attacks. It can slow his enemies down whenever he hits them, and his super can go through walls and push people back. So I put him on S tier. Next up on S tier is Lily. I put Lily on S tier because she does so much damage, and her gadget can turn her into the Shadow Realm, meaning that no one can find her for 3 to 5 seconds. So, and also her super, you just hit people with it and you teleport to them, which is really comes in handy, because if you're far away from them, you can just teleport right straight to them. Next on S tier is Doge, and I picked him on S tier because he has a big range, and he can also heal whenever he uses his attack, and he just has so much health. So I put him on S tier. Another S tier is Jester, because every time you shoot, his attacks multiply, which can come in handy for if someone comes really close to you, you can just multiply. And I think that the max he multiplies is 4, but I'm not sure. But I put him on S tier because of that. Next on S tier is Surge, and I believe he belongs on there because he does so much damage, and every time you do damage, he upgrades after a lot of hits, and every time you use a super, he jumps, which is really good to counter Edgar and stuff, because he jumps up, and when he falls down, he does more damage, which is really good. Another one I put on S tier is Cordelius, because his super goes into Shadow Realm with whoever he brings in there, and he's a short melee, but he does so much damage, and so I believe he belongs on S tier. Another one is Kit, and he is really good for a close-ranged brawler because he does a lot of damage, and his super allows him to jump and stay on someone and make him not be able to do anything. And then you could pair it up with any other brawler, and just when you're Kit and you're on them, they can just shoot your opponent even when you're on them, which is really good. Last up on S tier is Kenji, and he is a really good melee brawler. He has a sword, and he has decent range with it. One time you can dash up, and then the other is just slice and then dash and keep on going back and forth. And he's really good because his super allows him to go in the air using his swords and just slice both up and horizontally, which allows you to get anyone that's trying to run away from you. Starting on A tier is Mo, and he belongs on there because he does big damage, and his attack splits, which means it can go onto 3 or 4 different people in the area, and his super allows him to turn into a big drill, and just have more health and do a lot more damage, which is really, really good for a close-ranged brawler. Next up on A is Buzz Lightyear, and he has 3 different modes, allowing him. One of his modes is Saber, which is a close attack. Another one of his modes is Laser, which actually burns them over time, enemies for like 3 or 4 seconds. And his last one is like these little laser bursts that he shoots 2 at once, and it does a lot of damage. And with these different modes, he also has different amount of health. The most health being the Saber one, because you have to go in on people, and the least being the Laser one, because it's a far-ranged attack and it burns over time. Next up on A is Draco, and Draco's really good for short and medium-ranged. He's a tank, he has a lot of health, and his super just makes you like go crazy with him, and like really fast attack and everything. Just makes you start running fast and all that, so that's why he's on A. Next up on A is Spike, and he's really good because he shoots these pointy things because he's a cactus, obviously. But his star power allows his attacks to spread apart, easily hitting opponents. And next up is Juju, and Juju's really good. She has 3 different modes. One in the grass, which does the least amount of damage. One in the regular, like, non-grass, and it does the most damage. And then on water, another mode, and it's same damage as the regular one, but it also like slows them down with the water, which is really good. And next is Buzz, who is a short-range brawler, but his super can throw like this big rope thing that goes onto opponents and stuns them, and it brings him close, allowing him to do a lot of damage. Next up is Shelly, and she's the starting brawler. She's really good, and she belongs in A tier because she's a short-range brawler with a shotgun, and her attacks do really, really good damage close range, but of course not great damage far range, seeing as she is a shotgun specialist. But her super shoots a big wave of bullets, and it like pushes people back and does the most damage out of her whole attack set. And next up is Brock. Brock is a long-ranged brawler, allowing him to throw rockets at his opponents, and it's really good because it explodes on impact or whenever it reaches its max length. And his super allows his boombox. He carries a boombox with him. That's what he shoots rockets out of. And the super makes his boombox shoots like about 10 rockets at once in the air and raining down on your opponents. And he's really good. Next is Dynamite. He's an artillery. He throws bombs, and it's really good because one of his gadgets, if you have it, it can stun your opponent the next throw that you throw, and really good. Does a lot of damage. Next up is Penny. Penny is really good because it's more good for duos, because when she shoots her thing, it's like a pistol that she shoots out of, and when she shoots, it hits the people, but the people that are behind the person that she's shooting at gets the most damage done. It like spreads to the back people if there's anyone behind them, and it hits them for even more. Next up on A tier is Ems. She shoots hairspray, and it's poison damage and does so much damage. And one of her gadgets allows her to shoot through walls with her hairspray, but it does about 50% less damage, but still useful when the people are low health behind walls and all that sort of stuff. You can just shoot through it, which is really good. And next is Piper. She's a long-ranged specialist. The longer you are from someone, the more damage she does. If you shoot, it's like a sniper she carries. And it's really good because the longer ranged you are from your opponent, the more damage you do. And her super allows her to jump up and throw bombs around her and just like go anywhere across the map. Well, being a range, of course. But next up is Bia, and Bia is really good because her first shot does a decent amount of damage, but her next shot, if you hit them right after you just shot and hit them, then it does like 2 times the damage, which is really good for high ranged or high health brawlers, and it can just easily manipulate them. And also, her super throws a big wave of B shots, and it just like slows them down and stuff, which is really good for trying to get them to not run away, which is really good. Next up on here is Sam, and he's really good. He runs around fast, and he's a close range brawler that does a lot of damage, and he runs pretty fast with his super, and his super throws something on the floor, and whenever you step on it, it goes back to him, and I think it like stuns them, which is really good. So you definitely want to have him in your inventory. Next up is Larry and Laurie, and Larry and Laurie are really good. They're like a duo team. It comes with 2 people. Well, the super comes with 2 people. You throw like Laurie down, and you start with Larry, but when you use the super, you throw Laurie down. And they're artillery, and it hits the ground, and it hits twice. So it does double damage on a person nearby, which is really good for knocking them out and trying to like get them close. And you can also get them to get out faster if you throw Laurie down. It's he's like Larry, but he throws these like shotgun wave-ish things, and it's really good because he gets them low health while you can sit back throwing as an artillery. Next up is Angelo, and Angelo is really good because the more you hold his attack, the more it's going to do to a person. So if you hold it for like 3 seconds, it won't do much. But if you hold it for like 7-8 seconds, it does the most damage, doing like 5,000. Depends on how much you have him leveled up. But he's really good. He can also float over water, same as Juju, as if I didn't mention. They can go over water, which is really, really good. Next up is Eve, and she's really good because her super, or it might be gadget, one of those, allows her to put down a big bomb-looking thing, and it's her basically, just in a plant-looking thing, and she does a lot of damage, and she's like immune whenever she's in that low bomb thing, which is really good if you want to get on to people and hurry up and kill. Next up is Mortis. Mortis is really good because he can it's like Kenji, but he can dash, or it might be a she. Yeah, she can dash up 3 times because she has 3 attacks. She can dash, and if you wait a second and don't shoot for a while, then the next time you shoot, then you go even farther when you dash, which is really good for getting to people. And her super throws bats, and it heals her. It throws bats at whoever's close, and it heals her for how much it took from them, which is really good for whenever you run out of dashes and someone's really close but they're low. You can just use the super, instant kill, and get your health back. Next up is Roofs, and he's a really good brawler. He throws like 2 of these laser things that do pretty decent damage. And he is a medium-ish range, but I'd suggest you having him also unlocked because he's really good to pair along with anyone else. which is really good for knocking people out even faster, which is really good. Next up is Fang, and she's a close range brawler. She's mostly kicks and does a lot of damage, and like I said, she's a pretty decent brawler with decent range. Not much range, but decent, which is really good for whenever you have an Edgar on you or something, or even a Kenji. Yeah, just really good like that. Next we have Gray. He shoots like a sniper too, these little missile things, and it does decent amount of damage. And his super allows him to teleport into into a hole, and he comes out a hole anywhere else, wherever he puts it. It's like a wormhole, so he can just teleport whenever he's low and just get away, which is really good. Next up is Willow, and she's really good because she throws the little octopus-looking tails with sand on it, and it does poison damage over time, and it does a lot of poison damage, depending on how much you have her leveled up, like all brawlers, but she's really good. She's an artillery, really good for solo or duo gameplay. Next up is Chuck. He shoots like smoke, and he's in a wheelchair, which allows him not to move that fast, but he shoots like this brown fog that does a lot of damage, and he throws these flags that he can use his super to teleport to. He can throw as many as like 3 or 4, and if you're in the line of those, then he goes in around the whole flags that you threw. And if you're on one of those flags, you're gonna probably be instant dead. Next up is Melody. She shoots like music notes, and every shoot she hits, it like spins around her, the note, and she does a lot of damage, and the note even does even more damage if you get hit by it. It just spins around her in a little circle, and it's really good if you can not get hit by it because it does so much damage, and probably gonna die if you don't have like Edgar to run away, or Kenji or something like that. Next up is Sandy, and she does medium range, mostly short ranged damage, but she does a lot of damage, which is a good thing. And her super allows you, it's like a big hole of sand, and whenever she's in it, she is invisible, and whenever other people go in it, it does damage to them, which is really good if you're low and they're trying to find you. It will damage them, making them get out, and you will be invisible, so you can heal up, which is really good. Next up is Leon, and this is going to be the last one for today's episode, but she has a gadget that allows her to double, which makes other people not know which one you are, and her double does not do damage, but it does like tick people off and make them run or get scared if they're low, which can make them come out of bushes and stuff. But it's really easy to tell that it's not the real person because she doesn't shoot whenever she gets close, which can be really bad. But her super, I forgot what that is. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you liked, and remember to subscribe and share. That way we can reach a bigger audience. And I'll see you all in the next one.